help these guys. So, there'll be a couple of guys that make the team this weekend, and that's really a big thing.
Do you feel like Detrez has separated himself kind of for that number 3 spot in the backfield?
Well, I mean, we've got a number of guys that are in contention for that spot. I think Detrez has done a good job for himself as far as getting better as the preseason's gone on. We'll get an opportunity to see some of those guys. We've had some injuries. I'd like to see Justin, see how he can perform this week. Hopefully we'll be able to see that. But, that position is one that I think is something's going to be determined by in this game.
He said he feels like he brings a different skill set as kind of a bigger back. Do you kind of see that as something that he brings that's different from the other guys?
Well, every one of them's different. You have different. I mean, if you look at Austin and you look at Melvin, those are 2 guys that are different. So I think the thing is he's done a good job of where he started to improvement that he's made every week, and he's made some big plays. So, it's always great to see young guys develop that way, and kudos to him.
Coach, how would you assess what Austin did that first drive? I think he touched the ball 7 times on that 9-play drive.
I think it was 7 of the first 8, wasn't it, or something like that. I guess he was ready to go. He was in that position to step in there and play the way he did. I mean, we've seen Austin make big plays for us and run well and do those things, but third preseason game, to see him do that, it was nice.
And the offensive line, being able to do what they did for him.
Yeah, the offensive line has done a good job consistently through camp and this summer. And I think we talked about this earlier. The chemistry with that group has been good. And we've been fortunate that they've been able to play together for all of the preseason. And, it was good to see us have some success with those guys. There's obviously that group has some confidence right now, which success in this game in a large part is confidence. And it was good to be able to do that those first 2 series.
What does Mike Williams bring to the table in terms of red zone threat? How can he evolve in that offense, in that role?
Well, I think he's shown us throughout the course of camp all the different things that he can do, whether it's running a shallow, whether it's running a curl. You felt like he could do some of the balls down the field and make the contested catches, but some of the crossing routes, some of those type of things, you didn't really see him do a lot of in college. So I think he's expanded his ability to line up in different spots and do different things with. Now, as far as the red zone, that's all going to be specific based upon what the opponent's doing to you and, trying to create matchups down there. And it's good that when you have a number of guys that can be flexible. And I think that goes back to what we like the most about Mike. If you said coming into this summer it was Mike lines up in one spot, and what does he do? You throw him the ball and he jumps up and catches it. And I think now he's lined up in a bunch of different spots and done different assignments. So you can't just say Mike's going to line up on the right side and they're going to throw him a jump ball. He might run a cross route. He might run a shallow. He might line up in the slot. There's a lot of different places that he can appear, and that's good because he's a big guy that does a nice job of going up and getting the ball, and that's a valuable commodity in the red zone.
So he's become more polished as a route runner and opened things up.
He's really worked at it. I think some of it is his confidence has improved as he's been able to make some plays. But, we've had a couple different guys in camp, whether it was Tyrell or whether it was Travis, that missed a little bit of time. And when that happened, he's had to fill in some different spots. And that's really been good for him. So, if you think about all the different spots that Keenan lines up in, when he does that, then the guys have got to move around and play other spots. And, we've been able to manage that with our group because they're smart and they work really hard at it. And Mike's kind of fit into that mentality, and I think ultimately that helps him.
Keenan had a big block in the run game. Do you like seeing that kind of effort from your top receiver in the preseason, or does that make you hold your breath a little bit?
Well, I mean, I really think it sets the tone for your team when you have an unselfish guy that does that. He's a competitor. He really showed, how important it is to him, and that in turn makes a difference for our team. So, for our offensive team. So I was good to see that. It was good to see that.
Do you want him doing that very often now? I mean, how do you?
Well, there's always things you can do off of that. I mean, one time he blocks, and one time maybe you do a play action off of it, and we've been able to mix those things up. I think, in that position, you are required to block. Good running football teams, teams that have success, those receivers take it upon themselves to be good blockers, and our guys have worked hard at that. And Keenan has been a leader from that standpoint. He's always been a good blocker, and that can help us. So, you try to reward him by giving him different things that off of that, whether it's a play action where he's got a cross, or even some of the sets that look like run sets where he's given a chance to make some plays. So, it's a good mix, and you try to continue to grow and build on those things.
Is there anything or anyone from the other night that stood out more?
Well, I think there was a lot of guys in that first group. The first two drives, there wasn't a lot to complain about that. And we had a lot of different guys, whether it was the line, whether it was Derek Watt making a couple of good blocks, whether it was Austin. Of course, Phillip always plays well, receivers blocking. So, and after that, as happens a lot of times when you're playing with different guys, we had some guys that did good in spurts, but, over the course of the game with the way it went, it was hard to say single out anyone. But, that's what this week's for. This is a big week for some of these guys to really show where they are.
One of those guys is Phillip. What have you seen from him throughout the training camp? His assessment of the play?
He's improving. That's one of the things. If you had to say anything about Zach, is from where he started to where he is now, he has gotten better. He's played a number of different positions for us, and that's not always easy. And I think that his competitiveness is something that really stands out. You like what you see from him in that standpoint. And I think flexibility, is another thing. Because when you look at that position, if you're not going to be the starter, then what type of value do you have as a potential guard / tackle? Can you do both those positions? And he's lined up at both of those spots during the course of camp. Coach Meyer has done a great job of putting him in different spots in order to try to assess where he is as a player. And you got to give Zach credit for working hard to get better. So he's another one of those guys that's improved from the start of camp, and this game will be big for him. It'll be a chance for him to show some consistency and how he competes over a number of plays.
So you talked to him at all about his story, kind of what he went through?
A little bit. Yeah, it's an incredible story. And to have gone through that and to be in the NFL with a chance to be on a team, is a pretty incredible story. I think it gives you a great perspective on life. And, it's great to see him competing and being here with us. We good? Thank you, guys.